See in the ocean, which has several stories about the marine creature. It just happens to be a coincidence that June 8th is World Ocean Day also.
Yeah.
But I wanted to tell a story about the ocean because, you know, first of all, three-fourths of our planet is ocean, but most of us hardly know anything about it, and even in schools, they don't teach you much about the marine life which is there in the ocean. We are so ignorant about it. After all, ocean was the cradle of life. And, as they say, out of every 5 breaths we take, 3 breaths we owe to the ocean, the oxygen it gives, and so many other benefits it provides. I'm not going to go into the details of it, but we need to know, we need to celebrate the ocean, surely. So, for this, we will begin. Before I begin my story, I would request all of you, to imagine, you can imagine that you're shutting your eyes and you don't see what is around, you don't see me, but you are standing in front of this vast expanse of water, which is the ocean. And it fills you with awe. What kind of life there is? You have so much of it is not even yet discovered. And it's so magnificent. It impacts us in so many ways. It's not only people living in the coastal areas that get affected by the ocean. Every single individual on the planet gets affected by the ocean. As an example, a person trekking on Mount Everest maybe may just, toss his Bisleri plastic bottle along the way. And this bottle may sort of roll and fall into a stream of the melting ice. And it may join a stream, that stream may join a river, the river will ultimately empty out into the ocean. So there is an impact by an individual, even in the far interior, on the ocean, and vice versa. So let us just think how beautiful this ocean is. You are standing in front of this vast expansion of sea, and you hear the rhythm of the waves crashing on the shore. It's like music to the ears. It's so calming, it's so soothing. You feel the saltiness on your lips, and you want to walk forward more and more into the water. You feel the little waves, playing around your ankles. Your feet start sinking into the wet sand, and you get attracted. You get tempted to walk further into the water, further and further inside. And suddenly you're surrounded by the marine life, which is the ocean. You're surrounded by the corals, a kaleidoscope of colors and shapes, and all kinds of fish like the parrotfish and the angelfish and the clownfish swimming in and out of the corals. And you go deeper and deeper inside. You see crabs skittering about. You see octopuses. You see sharks. And you go further in and you see more octopuses, a lot of little baby octopuses. It's an octopus school. And there's an octopus teacher out there. And she's addressing the little baby octopus. So here begins the story. Well, children, after your breakfast, we shall all begin with our very first drill today. And then the teacher's eyes fall on one little octopus. Oh no, Nibbly, you are at it again. You are chewing up your seventh tentacle. How many times have I told you not to keep chewing at your arms? Look at you. How are you going to manage the drill with only one tentacle? You don't have 8 tentacles anymore. And Nibbly opens his parrot-like beak and says, my mother says, and the teacher says, yes, I've heard it so many times. Your mother says that within a few weeks you will grow a new tentacle. But the fact of the matter is, with your constant chewing, You are never going to be a perfect octopus with all of 8 tentacles. Look at you, how miserable you look. You ought to be called a monopus, not an octopus, because you have only one tentacle. And when the children, the little baby octopuses, heard this, they thought it was a joke. And they began teasing Nibbly and laughing and waving at their little tentacles at him. Nibbly, who was born an octopus, chewed up his arms without a fuss. And now he's a miserable monopus. Ha 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 ha. And they laughed, and there was utter chaos in the class. And the teacher got angry, like all teachers would, because of the indiscipline. And she started brandishing her tentacles at them, even whacking some of them. And she said, if you don't keep quiet and go back to your places this very minute, you will have to forego your breakfast of crabs. At the mention of the word crabs, the trick worked. It was a blackmail because crabs is the most favorite food of the octopuses. So all the little baby octopuses went back to their seats and quiet prevailed. And the teacher handed each of them one big crab for breakfast. They used their little parrot-like beaks to prise open the shell and gobbled up the fleshy inside of the crab. And all of them, like good children, took the empty shells and put it out in a heap just outside their lair. Well, the teacher said, now that you have had a hearty breakfast, let's begin our drill. Come on, follow me, everyone. So she went out to sea, and all the little baby octopuses followed her in a line. Of course, Nibbly, who had only one tentacle, found it difficult to maintain his balance, but he managed to swim, though clumsily. And then the teacher pointed out to a piece of fisherman's net, which was tied between two rocks. And she told the little baby octopuses, I want all of you to pass through this net. All the little octopuses managed to do this perfectly, even Nibbly, because you see, octopuses do not have a skeleton. So they have very soft bodies, as Shivani just mentioned, and they could flatten themselves and easily squeeze through even the smallest of holes. Why did the teacher make them do this? She explained. This is in the eventuality of you ever being caught in a vice-like grip of an enemy, you should be able to squeeze out of his hold. So then the teacher took them further afield, and they came upon a beautiful coral reef of many, many colors. And she told them, I want all of you to just vanish. And this they did perfectly too. The little baby octopuses who were next to a purple coral turned purple in color, the exact hue. You couldn't make out at all. And those who were next to the pink coral turned pink. And those who were next to the blue coral turned blue, and so on. Because, as you know, camouflage is the most effective tool for defense among the octopuses. They are better even than the chameleons at it. Even the teacher could not make out where they were. And Nibbly too managed to make himself invisible. This exercise, the teacher explained, is in case you ever accost an enemy, you should be able to camouflage yourself and turn into something which is like your surrounding, so the enemy will not be able to find you. And now for the third exercise, we will go deep into the ocean. So she swam deep into the ocean. All the other little baby octopuses followed her. But now began Nibbly's adventure, or rather misadventure, because having only one tentacle, he could not keep up, and he could not swim as fast as the other octopuses. So very soon, he got lost. He didn't know where he was. He couldn't find his way to his friends, to his teachers. He tried going back to the school, to his home, but he didn't know where. And suddenly, the ocean seemed strange to him, with same strange creatures all around. Some of them had spines all over their body. Some of them were enormous. They seemed to have fins that were huge, like the wings of a bird. Others had long whip like tails, and others had enormous eyes, and others gave off light. Dibley was so frightened, he tried to duck and hide from all these creatures. And as would be expected, very soon he came face to face with the octopus's worst enemy, a moray eel. Nibley was terrified when he saw the moray eel who had smelt him out. And in that moment of dread and horror, he forgot all his teacher's instructions. But as a reflex, he used his single little tentacle and tried to grip the moray eel's mouth with the suckers on the tentacle. Of course, if he had all of 8 tentacles, he may have been able to overpower the moray eel. But one tentacle was not enough to grip the moray eel. And the eel got enraged. You little mite, trying to fight with me? He easily slipped out of Nibley's grip, and just to teach him a lesson, he caught hold of his little tentacle and started spinning him round and round and round. And Nibley was terrified. Oh no, my single arm, if it gets wrenched off, what'll I do? I won't have any tentacles. How will I manage? Please don't do this. Don't do this. And all seemed lost for Nibley. He thought he was doomed. He thought he was going to die. But suddenly, in the recesses of his mind, he heard his teacher's voice telling him long ago that if ever you come across an enemy, we octopuses have something very special about us. We can confuse our enemies by squirting black ink. So this is what little Nibley did. He huffed and puffed and squirted huge clouds of black ink, which he had never done before. And the moray eel was confused. It lost its sense of smell temporarily. It began swimming in circles, and Nibley took his chance and swam away. He was so happy. He congratulated him by patting his back with a single tentacle. Ha! I managed to overpower a huge moray eel. I got myself out of trouble. But was he really out of trouble? Do you think so? He suddenly felt a cold arm touching his back. Oh no, he screamed and turned around. Ah, what a relief. It was not an enemy. It was another adult octopus. And of course, Nibley just poured his heart out and related his tale of woe to the adult octopus. And the octopus shook his head. This is what comes of not listening to your elders and your teachers. But please, please, said Nibley, can you lead me back to my school? Can you lead me back to my home? So what do you think the adult octopus said? Okay, I will, but you will have to give me a promise. You will never, ever, never what? Chew off your arms again. And Nibley, of course, said, I promise I won't. I'll listen to my teachers. So the adult octopus led him back to his school, where he was greeted with open tentacles by all his buddies and teachers and family. And of course, you can be rest assured. You think he stopped chewing his arms? Yes, he did. And in a short time, he turned into a perfectly formed, very handsome adult octopus with all of 8 tentacles. So that's the story. And I would like to add here that it's a fact that when octopuses are under stress, they do chew up their arms, but they do regrow more tentacles too. So every marine creature has something amazing about it, and so also the octopus. So that was